So the next part of this training today is about difference between managers and leaders. And already, as Rehan shared with you guys, all that you can see there's definitely a shift which takes place when you are
पहले
from
आप ये
a
बताइए ये टॉपिक हम क्यों डिस्कस करें
सर ये टॉपिक
मैनेजर और लीडर्स के
हाँ
डिफरेंस
क्योंकि
व्हाई
हम
सबसे पहले व्हाई
sure
एक्सप्लेन
sure
करना है
sure
अच्छे से
So the main reason I felt was that we all are on this accelerated program, accelerated growth program, and the objective for the company, or perhaps even for ourselves, is to become a better version of ourselves, become better than what we are right now. So if you are managers, to be leaders. If you're already leaders, to become even a better leader. So end of the day, the goal of this entire session, all these things, is to become a better leader, to help lead our teams, lead our company towards success. So I felt this is why we are talking about difference between a manager versus a
हमने
leader.
सही कहा
Agenda हमारा ये होगा कि first of all, who's a manager? We've already discussed about this in a way, a little bit of it in the past, but we'll move forward on that. Who is a leader? And again, how do we evolve from a manager to a leadership role or a leader? Traditionally, management कहती है कि there are 4 or 5 types of, even some books say even 6, 7 different types of managers, and their tasks are basically controlling, planning, organizing, and directing. Uh, this is a traditional management definition, but you already know that.
but what does
So
this mean
so in a controlling aspect, you're controlling the resources what are being applied to a certain task. आप planning कर रहे हैं, आप plan करते हैं कि कौन से projects आप कब करेंगे, किस time पे क्या चीज़ होगी, आप organize कर रहे हैं उसके बारे में, कौन से team members आप ये कहते हैं किस चीज़ पे काम करेंगे, what resources are you going to deploy at what given time, and of course directing them, guiding them, motivating them, making sure that their performances are being measured. So traditionally, this is what a manager would be. I would say it's a glorified supervisor, if you have, with all due respect. ठीक है. If I was to use one slide to define exactly or show how a manager is different than a leader, it would be this one. Here you can see as a manager, he's telling his team, or he's guiding the team to do some work. He himself would not be doing the work. He is more or less telling other people how to do it. Whereas a leader, they lead from the front. They work with the team. They guide them. They mentor them. They teach them. And I'll come to that those things in a few minutes. But in a nutshell, this is a big difference. As you can see, a leader is involved, whereas a manager, he just guides or is a boss. Traditionally, the definition of a leader, and this definition has still today till today remains very much same, and still a good way of defining what a leader is. First of all, ability to influence others, to inspire people. That's what a leader does. They basically guide them. They act decisive when they make a decision. They stick to it unless there's a good reason for them to deviate and change plans. So they're not indecisive. Should I do this or should I do that? No, they make a call and then they stick to it. Then they deploy the resources and work with the team to achieve those things. Transparency. They're very transparent about from bottom up and top to bottom. A leader encourages risk taking. You basically take risk, try to make things better. And yes, you might fail. It might happen, but then you learn from those failures. You get up, you dust yourself off, and you move forward. This is very different from what probably a manager like हमने बात करी थी कि manager is a fear कि कहीं fail ना हो जाए. But a leader is not scared of taking risks or failing for that matter, failing forward or failing fast. These are all these things which we've learned in past courses, which is a big topic of discussion nowadays in management also.
और ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है जो आपने अपने जहन में रखना है टू बी अ लीडर यू डोंट नीड टू बी अ मैनेजर सो एक इंडिविजुअल कंट्रीब्यूटर भी लीडर हो सकता है सो हमने इस ग्रुप का टास्क ये डिफाइन किया ना कि हमने लीडरशिप स्किल्स लेनी है तो ये चीज प्लीज जहन में क्लियर कर लें कि लीडरशिप स्किल्स लेने के लिए आपको मैनेजर बनना जरूरी नहीं है अ मैनेजर कुड बी अ लीडर आल्सो एन इंडिविजुअल कंट्रीब्यूटर कुड बी अ लीडर आल्सो एक चीज को अंडरस्टैंड करें मैनेजमेंट इज अ रोल You could be an individual contributor in terms of a role. You could be a manager in terms of a role जिसमें आपको टीम को मैनेज करना हो और वो चीजें करनी उसके निस्बत लीडरशिप इज एन एक्ट जो आप एज अ इंडिविजुअल भी लीडरशिप रोल प्ले कर सकते एज अ मैनेजर भी आप लीडरशिप रोल प्ले कर सकते एज अ डायरेक्टर भी आप leadership role play kar sakte.
So let's move forward. So a big difference between a boss and a leader is as follows, right? So first of all, the leader drives, leader coaches them. Whereas the boss would drive them, कि ये करो, वो करो. Managers or bosses, they have an authority. It's given by the organization. As long as there's a position, they will have that authority. Whereas a leader, based on his goodwill, based on the fact that he can inspire the team, he gets things done. He gets people to do things for that matter. He might, like you said, he might not be a manager. He might be in a lower level of management or in the organization, but he still gets things done based on his goodwill, being inspirational. Whereas a boss creates fear in his team, and leader has enthusiasm. People want to follow him. A boss says I. It's always I, me, myself. A leader fixes them. It doesn't matter if it's a responsibility or not. He sees an issue, he sees a breakdown, he or she steps in, fixes it. Whereas a manager knows how it's done because of his technical know-how or his expertise in that set field. A leader shows how it's done. Achha. So how do you evolve from a manager to a leader? So before I even go to the evolution part, there's a myth amongst people that leaders are born. There are people that, of course, leaders are, some of them are born, they're naturally good at being a leader. But this is also something which people can be taught, which we all, like demystify it. Any one of us can be leader. Only thing is we have to work towards this. We have to put in a lot of grit is involved in this work. So all of us can become leaders. There's no written hard and fast rule that only leaders are born. So it's an achievable thing for everyone. So first thing is, as a leader, it's a transition. It means you're going through an evolution. You're going through a change. No one can just start doing A, B, C, D and become a leader. It's a change in mindset. It's a change in behavior. It's a lot of things that involve. Agar I say, leaders could be developed so quickly, we would have a lot of leaders in our country and everywhere else. It's not so simple. It involves a lot of work. Agar मैं इसी पे आगे चलूँ, तो फिर a bricklayer versus an architect. What is a bricklayer? You know what a bricklayer is? वो एक पत्थर लगाता रहता है. Whereas an architect has a whole plan in front of them. Generally, जब कोई आदमी, a person is put in a leadership role, the first thing they try to do is let's leave a mark. And the way they leave a mark is let's do restructuring. And they start going around messing with different functions, different things. Functions and roles they're not familiar with.
ये अपने आप को व्यू करना शुरू कर दो. एक चीज तक पहुंचने के लिए पहले अपने आप को व्यू करो उस रोल.
Fact over here that as a company and an organization, we can't have everyone as a leader. There are leaders and there are managers. And there might be people who you're working with who are managers, or even as a leader, you might actually have people who are budding managers. As I explained to you in the first slide, that the definition of manager has changed a lot. And I just want to share this because of a good understanding as leader, because we're supposed to nurture and guide and grow people, grow those managers under you, around you. This is something which people have to understand. So manager role has changed from a directive to an instructive, because in today's world, AI is coming in. People don't need to be told. I mean, roles of supervisor are getting diminished. As an entrepreneur, you keep on saying how you can add value, how you can make things better, how can innovate. So it's a shift in mindset, and that's probably what I want to talk about. That be it a manager or be it a leader, it's all about a transition from as a single individual to a team player, and from a manager to a leader. It's all about a transition. And basically, it's an iterative process. You have to do it again and again, learn from the mistakes and keep on improving. It's not a destination. Leadership is not a destination. It's a journey, and you keep on improving upon it. You might take one step back, you might take 2 steps forward, but it's something you have to work upon. It takes day in, day out. It doesn't come, you can't go and do a diploma or a master's and become a leader. It's something you have to build upon yourself. You have to assess your strengths. The fact is, all of us are good at something, and sadly we are bad at something. It's just the fact of life. How you mitigate those weaknesses, how you mitigate those things which you're not good at, who you are as a communicator, as a collaborator. And it's something that's personal. You have to sit and reflect upon yourself. Are you really a good communicator? Are you really being a good collaborator? We say we are, but are we really? Are we sharing everything? Are we talking are we saying the right things? Are we encouraging? Are we condescending someone? Are we working with them, or are we trying to boss them? Are we trying to set agendas over there? So these are things you have to think about yourself. Finally, what got you here won't get you there is a simple way of saying, okay, you guys are good. All of us are good, perhaps. And whatever helped us get to this far is good, but we can't depend on those accomplishments, those learnings, those skill sets to make us go to the next leap, to the next step as a leader. That is where we all have to work ourselves. It might help us, it might guide us, but sorry, just because you did amazing 2 years of profitability in some teamwork, on some division or some growth thing, doesn't mean you're a good leader here. You have to work on those things. I think that's all.
बहुत यूजफुल टॉपिक था. इसका जब तक कोई ना कोई अच्छा फॉलो प्लान नहीं रखेंगे, ये चीजें खत्म हो जाएंगी. एक अच्छा होमवर्क क्या हो सकता है? दो टॉपिक्स हमने डिस्कस किए और वो दोनों इम्पोर्टेंट थे. ठीक, चलें टीम, दैट्स वेरी गुड.
Thank you, Mansoor. Thank you.